In today's show, celebrating the journey of a very special Crow, a debutant talks about his unexpected inclusion, and we're in the rooms as another youngster prepares to play his first game. Hello everyone and welcome to the Optus Crows Show. I'm Mark BICKLEY. Every season the club unveils a new jumper to commemorate Sir Doug Nicholls Round. This year's spectacular design was created by Eddie Hocking, who was the first Indigenous player to represent the Adelaide Football Club. We caught up with Eddie and artist Shane Cook to discover the story behind the Crows' 2020 Indigenous Guernsey.
You know, loving footy and you just want to play at the highest level, and at that time it was the SNFL, and then to get drafted to Adelaide, being the first side in the AFL from South Australia, it was an honour.
Eddie Hocking does this so often, runs around Waters, good looking kick, it's a goal.
To be asked to design the 2020 Guernsey, I sort of had a basic designs around sort of how I wanted the Guernsey to look, and Shane, added his own sort of style, which I liked.
Even like these little dots coming through,
Yeah.
just to outline the wing. It's a massive opportunity for myself, like being an artist, probably one of the biggest opportunities in my artistic career. And obviously the painting part's the fun bit for me, but I think the most important part was the story that Eddie wanted to convey, and I really wanted to make sure that it represented what he's done for the club and how he embraces the players, and how passionate he is about football.
The thin lines start here, and as they get thicker, the culture gets stronger. The design represents the whole playing group of the Adelaide Football Club, but in particular all the Indigenous players that contributed and played for the Adelaide Football Club over the last 30 years. The focus of the design is, as you can see, the crow with its wings out represents me, and the hand is my handprint, which is my respect and my contribution to the football club. Being the first Indigenous AFL player at the Adelaide Football Club, it was always fantastic to put on the jumper and run out to represent the Adelaide Football Club. But I still have connection with the current playing group. I feel like I'm sort of like a big uncle to a lot of some of those young Indigenous boys now.
He's someone that's helped me through not only my, footy career, but he's helped me through my, personal life, school. So it's been pretty special. He's always messaging us and saying, "I'll come down and have a yarn in the cafe," or just to come and have a chat with us and make sure we're going all right. And that's the sort of character that he is. He just loves to connect everyone and be that support person.
He's so friendly and lovable, like he's just like a father figure, and he was someone that you could just go and have a yarn with, and you didn't necessarily want to talk about footy all the time. You just wanted to see how you were going personally, and it means a lot to me being able to wear a Guernsey that's made by him.
I was very disconnected at a young age and felt like very displaced, and at times felt like I wasn't sure where I kind of fit in, but it's people like Eddie who welcomed me with open arms, and really encouraged me to pursue art. So when I get to collaborate with people like him, it's always a really good feeling.
Yeah, no, it was good. I like that.
I'll be very excited. I'll be feeling pretty proud of myself to see him all running around there with the Guernsey on.
It's going to be a special night.
It certainly looks impressive, and the Crows will be proudly wearing the new Guernsey next Sunday when they take on Geelong at Adelaide Oval. Now to a story on one of our newest debutants. Kieran Strachan will never forget the circumstances surrounding his first AFL game. The 24-year-old was told he'll be making his debut just hours before boarding a flight to the Gold Coast. Later that afternoon, the emerging ruckman found himself lining up against North Melbourne veteran Todd Goldstein. We had a chat to Strachan to get his thoughts on the special day.
When Nixie rang at 6 o'clock in the morning, you sort of wonder why his name's popping up on my phone.
Everyone is confident of what you're going to bring. Rob's been nervous. You were coming in, he was going out, but it just happens to be that you're going to come in on the same day.
I guess just the dream that I was actually about to make my debut, and then that whole day, you try not too hard to think about it, but you just got to accept the feelings that you get. And pre-game, it was exciting, and I know all the nerves sort of went out the window, and it was just adrenaline after that.
We're joined by his family and his partner Susie, so it's great to have them join us today.
Different situation, having the Zoom call, but at the same time my family, I guess, got to experience it at a certain extent, and Mum sort of said afterwards it was, you know, how proud they were to be involved, and it was such a good day even though it was last minute, and I felt very privileged to receive my jumper off Rob.
Mate, a huge congratulations to you. You've worked really hard. Your recent form's been awesome. Knew this day would come ever since you touted me up in pre-season that time.
Rob's a great athlete and a good footballer, but at the same time I love it. It's a challenge, so all pre-season coming up against him, you know, it was just, I wanted to come in and battle and compete, and then when it was game day, that gave me confidence that I'd competed against an AFL ruckman all through pre-season, so it was a massive confidence boost to know that, all right, I've come up against Rob, so this is, you know, it's not going to be much different.
Goldstein up against Kieran Strachan, who gets his first go at it, first gamer in the ruck.
I'm normally someone that tries to get as much sleep as possible and then just work into the day, but getting up and get going, I guess, because it was my debut, it didn't worry me at all. I was pumped up and ready to go, and then at the same time, on a short break, it's good to be able to get home. You know, you get the extra night at home in bed rather than travelling the next day. So I think that part of it, that side's really beneficial.
There's plenty more to come on the show, and after the break, we'll catch up with another exciting Crows debutant.
Sure enough, I walked in, Sloaney was there with Nixie, and they had the team out, so I was like, oh, it's a bit weird, I shouldn't be seeing the team now.
Welcome back to the Optus Crows Show. I'm ALANA Smith. Well, young midfielder Lachlan Sholl became the club's 7th debutant of the season when he was selected to play in round 10. Coach Matthew Nix and captain Rory Sloane delivered the good news to the 20-year-old, who was one of only 2 Crows to play in every SANFL game last year. We sat down with Lockie to chat about his development after spending 18 months at West Lakes.
Am I right to hop in? Yeah, I can leave you in a sec if you want.
Yeah, come in. You can stay, mate.
So I was obviously, before I was talking to Adam Kelly, and he said, oh, you might just want to pop in. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't think anything of it. And yeah, sure enough, I walked in, Sloaney was there with Nixie, and they had the team out, so I was like, oh, it's a bit weird, I shouldn't be seeing the team now.
You going to the meet tomorrow morning, or?
Not sure. What are you going to bring if you play?
Contest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, you can play.
Don't run with me tomorrow.
It was an unreal feeling. Having Sloaney there as well, who I've worked with a little bit over the, you know, pretty closely over the last 18 months was pretty awesome as well.
Short kick has been marked by Sholl. He's in the back pocket.
I used to always go for kicks with Dad, and I wouldn't be here without him, to be honest. He's done so much with me. Obviously, he's had a really big influence on not just me as a footballer, but as a person growing up, and making sure that I'm doing all the right things, and not just with footy, but, you know, making sure I carry myself well. As I got older and started to play higher levels of footy, he certainly helped me with just little tricks here and there. So in terms of reading the play, knowing when to peel off and try and get a kick.
Go out and enjoy it. You only get one first game, so make it a good one. Just love the experience.
From day one, when you first got into the club, you up in the gym, extra pipes, that's hence the nickname Pipes. More and more times passed and you've continually got better at your extras, you've got a better footballer, and last year with me coaching in the SANFL, I got to watch each week your progression, and it was incredible to watch because I could see the work you were putting in from when you first got here and then to where you are now, to be able to run out with you.
I got the jumper presented to me by Tommy. He took me under for the first month that I was at the club, and him and Em did just an amazing job in terms of making me feel welcome and making sure that, you know, I settle in here in Adelaide really well. and then also to have mum, dad and Geordie as well, being able to watch it, obviously not being able to be there, which was a bit disappointing, but at the same time it was great that we were able to get that Zoom chat, and my family and also Harry's family were able to see that, so that was great.
Well, for all the official Crows news, make sure you visit at afc.com.au. Stay connected with the club via their social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and follow at The Crows Show on Twitter so you don't miss out on any of the exclusive stories from the program. Well, clubs are always looking for new ways to give them a competitive advantage. Last year, the Crows high performance team trialled a relatively cheap remedy that's been popular with fellow athletes. Pickle juice was offered to players both before and during matches with the aim to improve hydration and prevent muscle cramps. With thanks to Bendigo Bank, let's take a look back at that story.
So there isn't really a solution to cramps yet. And so pickle juice at the moment is really in the headlines for being the cure for cramp once you get it. In all honesty, there's a few studies that have been done in it, and essentially it's got potassium, sodium, magnesium in it, which are all the electrolyte-based products that we want for someone to stay hydrated. Essentially what they think that happens is the players ingest the pickle juice, it has those electrolytes in it, and it stimulates something in your oropharyngeal region which actually ceases the neurons from firing once you get a cramp. So the studies that have been done use dill, mustard powder, there's been studies with chili as well. So we try and grab a pickle vinegar essentially, but we try and use the ones that are based off the studies with the same ingredients. We have probably about 8 to 10 guys that take it every game. Others will only take it once they get a cramp, which is what most of the studies have been done in.
A lot of work goes in over the summer to make sure guys know how to hydrate. So it's not just the rehydration element within game, it's the entering the game hydrated in the first place. Obviously that takes some education for the younger players, and we do that in conjunction with Brie, our dietitian. What we try and do is we try and encourage a high electrolyte intake, which encourages the absorption of fluid into the cells, helping them get hydrated. We've got plenty of breaks to get some fluids into the guys, and with the rotations that we have at the moment, they've got plenty of time on the bench to also get some fluid in. So for us, hydration's actually not really been an issue unless it's really hot.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Crows forward Ben Davis takes us on a cultural experience in Queensland.
Running a successful grassroots footy organisation requires a talented team of volunteer administrators. It's their job to ensure the organisation runs smoothly no matter what obstacles are thrown their way. Next year, the Athelston Football Club will need to operate without the revenue from their club rooms. But thanks to Toyota's Good for Footy raffle, the Raggies have been able to raise the funds required to keep their club competitive.
My name's Luke Rand, I'm the captain here at the Athelston Footy Club. This footy club's been around for over 100 years now, so it's been a big part of the community for a while, and we've always had really strong juniors here, so it does provide a lot of young kids somewhere that they can call home. Next year we actually don't have any club rooms, or because our club rooms are getting renovated. Because it's down the bottom from the oval, most people don't actually get to go in there as much as we'd like, so they're going to raise them up to ground level, which means we're going to have people in the club rooms being able to watch the footy while they're in there, and hopefully it means more people will go from the footy then into the club rooms after, which is going to be really good for us too. I think that's what footy's all about. It's more the social thing than it is, the footy. Like, yeah, we come out here and play, but everyone wants somewhere that they can belong, and that's what this is here. We ended up raising just over 9,000 through the Toyota Good Footy raffle, which is going to be really important for our footy club. It's going to help us just supplement not being able to make a little bit of income there, and just allow us to still provide, for our senior footballers and then for our junior football as well, making sure that we've you know, we can put teams on the park all throughout the year. And so those new club rooms, you know, renovating that, it's going to hopefully bring more women into play, more juniors into play, more senior men into play, and we'll end up just growing our community. So I'm really excited for it.
The Crows have had the luxury of playing their last 2 games at Adelaide Oval before flying to the Gold Coast to take on the Bulldogs. Thanks to Flight Centre, let's fly around social media to see what the players have been sharing from their home base.
Right now, you bloody legends, I've got a life hack for you. See this? See how it's dripping? 1, 2, 3. Never drip again after the 3rd. It's an unbelievable hack. My grandma taught me that. Give it a go.
The AFL's Sir Doug Nicholls Round will kick off next week. Over 4 days, clubs will celebrate Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture and their contribution to Australian football. Earlier this year, the Crows were lucky enough to participate in a unique cultural experience while based in the Queensland hub. Led by the Indigenous players, the team participated in activities such as spearfishing, art and a welcome to country ceremony. We caught up with forward Ben Davis to find out how their stay on the Gold Coast offered a rare opportunity to connect with the traditional owners of the land.
We got local Indigenous people to come out and do some painting with us. It was really cool that we did one of the nights. I can't remember which night it was, but it was really cool to have sort of a different perspective because, you know, we get taught a lot about Kaurna country here, but to learn about the culture that was of the land that we're on up in the Gold Coast was, I think it was different, and it was good for some of the other boys who joined in as well. We went to, I think, Tully Budgerah Creek, I think it was, Tully Creek, and it was beautiful there. It was such a beautiful spot surrounded by trees. I've spearfished a fair bit back home, but that was with a spear gun and all the gear, but I haven't actually just done it just with a stick and a few prongs on the end before, so it was cool to do that. I think the thing is, a lot of people find it hard to have those serious conversations because they don't know how to start it, whereas, you know, learning about our culture and things like that, you know, you can talk about the spearfishing, you can talk about the techniques and things we learn, and then that can just sort of snowball into deeper conversations about things that are more serious. So it's sort of that icebreaker with deeper conversations. But yeah, to have those boys there sharing that experience with us is really special.
Coming up, we hear from Crows coach Matthew Nicks.
A few fortunate Crows fans had the opportunity to attend Tuesday night's clash against Collingwood. Thanks to Optus, we're taking a look at what supporters shared on social media.
There was a lot of love for weeknight footy at the Adelaide Oval. Fans were grateful to have a seat amongst the crowd of 10,000 people. Despite the disappointing result, supporters were quick to highlight the promising performances from a couple of youngsters.
Every week on the program, senior coach Matthew Nicks is asked a question thanks to Thomas Farms. This week, we find out if the rest of the season will focus on giving the younger players more game time.
Look, from a focus point of view for the rest of the season, we're out there to win games of footy. But with that, we're also looking at what the future looks like. So we're planning, not only for this or for this weekend's game or the next. We're also planning for what 2021 looks like and 2022. And I think it's important that we do that. We want to get as much experience into a lot of these developing young players as we can, because what it's shown, if you go back over the history of the game, clubs that are able to develop their players from within and get games into these players, it's amazing how quickly they improve into really strong footballers, and we've seen that with clubs like Brisbane, Port Adelaide where they're at the moment, Richmond and so on. You could name nearly every club that's succeeding. So that's our challenge, is to look at performing on the weekend, winning games of footy, but also looking longer term.
Thanks for joining us today. I do hope you enjoyed the show. Now you can keep up to date with all the latest Crows news at afc.com.au and by following the club on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Stay tuned to Channel 7 for more footy action this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. It's bye for now.